London. Today, donating blood, that's according to the National Blood Service. They say that people are put off by bad experiences. Lisa Renak is the Jolie Bear charity in Hertfordshire who campaign for blood donors. She set the charity up after losing her son to cancer. Lisa, good afternoon to you.
Hi there.
And thanks for coming on.
You're welcome.
Lisa, I've got to put my hands up to this, and don't shout at me, Lisa, but I went and gave blood the second time, and they had problems getting a vein. And it was a wee bit sore, and I haven't been back since. Which is terrible, I know, but it just was one of those unpleasant moments. You think, okay, and it was just accidental, just one of those kind of things, and I'm sure it'll be fine. I will go back.
Oh, please do.
Tell me a wee bit about the reasons you set up the charity and everything.
What happened was our son was seriously ill, and we very sadly lost him about 17 years ago. He had a rare form of liver cancer. And whilst he was ill, lots of friends came forward and wanted to know how to help us as a family and Joel, my son, to survive and get better. And we gave them lots of little jobs to do, and at one point I suggested to them to go and give blood, as Joel was having many, many blood products. He's having lots of blood transfusions and platelets. And we sent a lot of people along to give blood. And in fact, when we lost him at Joel's funeral, again we said the same, please go and give blood. We'd sent so many people along to our local blood donor centre that they said, look, choose a venue, we'll come to you. And that's what happened 17 years ago. And since then we've been having 3 sessions a year, and that's included a lot of new donors, people who would never otherwise have given blood. So we've helped save lots of lives, and we've introduced many, many new donors to give blood. It's an interesting one that not enough young people are donating blood. What age can somebody start giving blood? 17, and in fact what happened was when we started our sessions, people were bringing their young children along, and they actually saw what was happening. They saw their parents give blood, they saw that their parents didn't make a fuss and that it was a relatively simple process. And since then a lot of the kids have grown up, and they're 17 and older now, and including my own children, they've all been giving blood since they were 17. It's almost like this. I remember another radio station. I tried to get a day of it, and get the people to come along, the blood donor people to come along, and we could maybe get listeners to do it. And for some reason we weren't able to do it. I don't know. But it's almost like we need to build in a culture of giving like that, isn't it? And yet we don't seem to be there yet, are we? I think, dare I say, it's a lot to do with advertising. A lot of people don't feel the need, and sadly they haven't had an experience near to themselves that spurs them on to give blood. My husband wasn't a blood donor before this happened. I'd given once or twice, and a lot of our friends and family, they just wanted to give, and so we've managed to get it into our friends and relatives culture. And I think just word of mouth and more advertising, and more people need to be aware of it. There is a little bit of advertising, but I don't think the funding's there for the advertising to happen more than it does. Yeah, it's funny you say that. Yeah, I can't remember the last time I saw an ad for donating blood. I mean, sadly, they seem to put them on. I don't know if they're on TV at the moment, but at one point they were putting them on TV, and they weren't during the main viewing hours, which is a great shame. But at the moment, they've got the National Blood Week for the first time in England, and today is World Blood Donor Day. So I think there's a fair amount of publicity today, including, obviously this is why you're interviewing me as well. So it's a start, but I'd like to think it would go on to bigger and better, but we'll have to see. One of the things that came out when I went to give blood was that the fact that, I'm an ex-medic anyway, but I should have known this, but it's not just the part of the pint or whatever you give, it's actually how that blood can be used, all the constituent parts can be used as well. Absolutely, and in fact it was one of the rarer constituent parts that my son was receiving. He received a rare product, I think it was called cryoprecipitate or something like that, a medic will correct me on that. He received that when he was seriously ill, and just a very small amount of that came from about 80 people combined, I believe. And I thought, well, if that little amount of blood comes from so many people, we need more people to help give blood. But yes, I mean, platelets is a constituent of blood, and in fact my husband and son are platelet donors rather than red blood donors, so that's another thing that can be looked into as well. So yeah, platelets, red blood, and there's a few other constituents of blood, of which I'm not really aware because I'm not a medic either.
Yeah.
But it gets very complicated, and, you know, to give you a little amount of blood, which you can only give, I think, 3 times a year, it can help so many people in different ways. It's yes, cancer and leukemic patients, accidents, and lots of other things, lots of other illnesses and situations need blood. So it's all good stuff.
Well, Lisa, I'm going to do it. I'll go back and I'll give and I think you know, that you said the whole thing about 3 times a year. Maybe we should all start to do a wee bit more of that, and we can actually start to save more lives as a result of it. Hey, Lisa, great to talk to you. Thanks for coming on. We'll maybe get you into the studio another day, and we can chew the fat a bit more.
That would be lovely. We're having our next blood donor session on the 17th of July in Borehamwood. So if anyone can come along to our Jolie Bear session, that would be lovely. But in the meantime, if you can't make it to our session, please go to any blood donor session, your local centre, or if there's a mobile coming near you, please do.
Lisa, thanks a lot. Lisa Renak there, the Jolie Bear charity in Hertfordshire, who campaign for blood donors. She set the charity up after losing her son to cancer. Right, a bit of a wimp story I started off with there, but I am going to go and give blood again. If you're a regular blood donor, how many pints have you given? And where did you start, and what made you start to give blood? I think I started giving blood fairly late, I have to say. I think I started doing it as a result of being embarrassed on the radio. I think somebody said, why are you not doing this? Why are you not thinking about other people who could benefit from just 3 times a year? So I'm going to go back to it, and I will donate. What about yourself? If you haven't donated blood, what's stopping you doing it? Is it might be a medical condition, or is there something else? Maybe we should all get together and go and give blood together and support each other and do it, and then once it's done, that's it, we just move on. But what a great idea Lisa was saying there, that children go along when their parents are giving blood, so they get to see. Cracking idea. What about you? Do you give blood? How often do you give blood? And how many pints have you given? It's Three Counties Radio.
Not too bad, thank you.
Good. So are you giving blood or not giving blood?
No, I wanted to, but I was told, I think a couple of years ago, I was too old.
Right. The age is?
Yeah, too old.
What age did they say? We should find that out.
I'm 76 now.
Right.
So it was 75, 74.
Yeah, we'll get the exact. But maybe had you never given blood up to that point, Marina?
Oh yeah.
All right, you had. Okay.
Yeah, lots of times.
All right. Yeah.
Okay.
Well done, Marina. Thank you very much. Rosemary.
Hello.
How many have you given?
60.
Wow. Oh, you'd put the rest of us to shame. 60 pints. What age did you first start going?
Well, I'm looking about probably 25 years ago at least, when I was working in Welling Garden, and we had a local donation van come round, and that was my first time. And I persuaded 2 other people in the office to give, because I thought, my argument was I might need the blood sometime. I hated needles. I avoided most of the injections that I could as a child. I used to be absolutely awful and terrified of needles. I still don't like them. In fact, I just had to have a blood test taken this morning, but I've now got my letter and asking me if I would donate again, which I will do. I always go over to the Luton Centre because I find it nice and friendly over there.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely going to do it to take it up again, because I'm being wimpy.
So you should. And it doesn't hurt.
No, it doesn't, and I'd quite a nice biscuit afterwards as well. In fact, I'll be honest with you, I had 3 or 4 pieces of shortbread afterwards. Hi Ronnie, this is from Dan Renak, who's the son of Lisa, who was on earlier. Ronnie, you just interviewed my mum, Lisa, about giving blood. Thank you for giving her some airtime. In answer to your question, you can start giving blood from the age of 17 to 65. There is no upper age limit as to when you can continue to give blood, provided you remain healthy. All right. Okay. If you can help us promote Jolie Bear's 50th blood donor session, I'd really appreciate your help in making this landmark session a success. It is vital. It is. The session will be held on the 17th of July at Yavney College in Borehamwood. That's Hillside Avenue. The session starts at 9:30 in the morning and closes at 4:30 in the afternoon. Right, I'm going to give that to Nell. So if anybody wants the details, ring us now and Nell can tell you them. 08459 455 555.